Thanks for tuning into this conversation. While sugar prices are doing what they are doing, we know that the business of a sugar company, which our guest on the show today loves to now start calling them energy companies, are actually having a large slice of their business from ethanol. And Renuka Sugar is arguably one of the largest players in that space, has commenced ethanol production from expanded capacities at 2 locations. Let's get in Atul Chaturvedi, the man who's leading Renuka Sugars, to talk about how does this impact expanded ops, earnings, if you will, in the new sugar season maybe, and the outlook ahead. Mr. Chaturvedi, great having you. Thanks so much for joining in. Hope all is well.
Thank you. Absolutely. Everything's fine. And you are absolutely spot on. We've started calling ourselves an energy company as opposed to a sugar company. To come to your question of the ethanol capacity getting expanded, in fact, right from day one, when we took over this company in 2018, we were quite sure that the way forward would be ethanol. And that could probably be the game changer going forward. And that's why we have been expanding the ethanol capacity. And we are happy to share that our expanded capacity is now on stream. In fact, our capacity now stands at about 1,250 KL PD, spread across 3 units. One at all at our crushing units in Karnataka. So that would make us probably the largest ethanol player in the country. But having said that, even this year, we have been able to jack up our production by almost something like 25% compared to what it was last year. Now the financial year is practically coming to an end. So, and hopefully next year, it's going to be still further another 25% increase. And that's largely because the expanded capacity would come into play next year because it has just commenced commercial. And now it's the fag end of the season, or you could say that the season is over and done with.
Right.
We hope next year, 40% of our revenue from the milling side would actually come from ethanol. But we have 2 streams of business, as I told you last time. One is the refinery, that is separate. And the crushing business or the milling business, almost 40% of the revenue is likely to come from ethanol.
Got it. Viewers, remember when Mr. Chaturvedi is talking about the next year, he's talking about the sugar season, which effectively begins from October. Are you saying, Mr. Chaturvedi, for the sugar period from October to March, which is the current sugar year, you expanded production by 25%, and you hope to expand another 25% on top of this number starting October 2023?
Absolutely.
Got it. Great. Now, so you please correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember a conversation that we had maybe 6 to 9 months back, wherein the talk was that Munoli you will take from 120 to 500, which you have, and Athani you might take from 300 to 600. Now, what I see in the announcement is 300 to 450.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. In fact, at one point of time, we were debating in terms of expanding the capacity to about 1400 KL. But then we thought putting all eggs in one basket may not be a very bright idea. So we kept on hold another 150. And maybe we might evaluate putting that at some other location because we've got other plants as well. But that is still not decided.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So for the immediate needs or the business plan that you would have in terms of the need for ethanol in the country versus the quantum of sugarcane available for you to produce ethanol, would 1250 be a sweet spot for the next couple of seasons or not necessarily?
It will all boil down to how the sugar or the cane expansion takes place. If the cane continues to expand, we certainly would need to expand our ethanol capacity as well. But what we also need to seriously look at, and which we are looking at, is to expand geographically, because most of our plants are actually concentrated in Karnataka and Maharashtra. UP, which is another very big producer of cane, we are not there. So we would definitely like to de-risk ourselves geographically. And the other reason also why we would like to de-risk ourselves geographically is that we have a brand called Madhur,
Yes.
which happens to be the market leader in the country. So we need to have a footprint in UP as well. So at this point of time, we've taken a couple of units on tolling basis where we are getting Madhur packed. But that is also some area which we will seriously be evaluating.
Got it. Just one quick question. I mean, on how do you see the cane expansion happening? Because every time there is a talk of area under cultivation of sugarcane going up, there is talk of what sugarcane as a crop does to water levels, reservoir levels, and how prudent it is. Now, my question to you is, because you are at the forefront of understanding this, can India realistically, you reckon, expand sugarcane area under cultivation? And would it be done? And therefore, would we see more ethanol capacity from Renuka's end in due course?
No, our take is that area under cane will also continue to grow. Even this year, it has actually grown by 4% compared to what it was last year. But the only problem this year has been that the rain gods have been very, very erratic. In fact, till June, we were having a kind of a drought situation. Then subsequently, it was a deluge. With the result that our yields, which you were touching something like 80 tons per hectare, actually suffered massively by almost 20%. So that has resulted in the overall sucrose production or the sugar production coming down. In fact, if you remember, in the month of October, the whole industry, including ISMA, our body, our association, was quite gung-ho that the production is going to be something like 36.5 million tons or thereabouts. But what has actually come about is closer to 33 in terms of sugar, and another 4.5 million tons getting diverted to ethanol directly, sugar sacrifice for ethanol. So we are quite gung-ho that the farmers would continue to keep expanding, because the returns to them vis-a-vis the competing crops is probably one of the best as far as sugar is concerned. So we see no reason. And now with the ethanol play, the farmers' returns and the farmers' payments have also improved dramatically. Now you don't hear that farmer dues are piling on and all that. So that's largely because the cash flows of the mills have improved, and farmers are practically getting paid in without 10 to 15 days, which was something which was never heard of in the past.
Most certainly. So what does this expanded capacity and ops, or let's say first, the 25% uptick that you've seen in production ethanol this year, what does that do to overall numbers for you as a company? Where is it on the capacity utilization that you're operating at? Would love to understand that too. And when you say that you expanded by another 25% in the new season, ceteris paribus, other things remaining constant, how do the numbers change, sir?
If you see, our ethanol capacity is currently being utilized more than 100%. In fact, it was closer to about 125%. When we have produced closer to about 19.5 or 20 crore liters with only 720 kiloliters capacity, so we've been running during the season at almost 900 KL per day. So that is also one of the reasons why we thought 1250 can actually be run at 1400, because the juice also gives you a little higher throughput.
Sure.
So we feel this will continue, and there's no reason why it should not continue the next season as well.
Okay. What does this do in terms of predictability of numbers, Mr. Chaturvedi? I remember one more conversation that we've had when this whole ethanol movement started, that you mentioned that the erratic numbers that sugar forced companies because of debt issues, because of multiple other issues, would go away, because ethanol will add that layer of predictability. It may not be as seasonal as sugar was in nature, etc. When does that start showing in the books of, say, Shree Renuka, if not the whole industry?
No, my take is they've already started showing. In fact, what we are seeing is that the cyclicality of this industry is probably a thing of the past now, which was the case about 4 or 5 years back. And ethanol has been one major contributor. If we look at our numbers, in fact, our numbers, official numbers, would be out in about a month's time, because today is the last date.
Yeah.
But our revenues have generally gone up by almost 40% compared to last year. Ethanol production and ethanol sales have also gone up by about 25%. Our exports have also gone up by about 30-35%. So overall, you will see that getting reflected in the EBITDA numbers.
Which is where I don't see, Mr. Chaturvedi. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm saying the top line growth is obviously visible. I mean, you are by far the leader on the ethanol side and all of that. But somehow on the operational metrics, the predictability for an investor is somehow not quite there. So when does that start coming in?
No, in fact, I would say the predictability is much more now compared to what it was in the past.
Yes.
And secondly, as I told you right in the beginning, that all these expanded numbers would definitely be getting reflected in the EBITDA numbers of the company. So I can't share with you those numbers, but now practically the season is over and done with, and the year is also over and done with. So we are sure that the EBITDA numbers are going to be different. But having said that, the reason why our profitability at the PBT level, that gets affected because of the legacy issues. We have, when we took over this company, we got saddled with a lot of past dash. So that we are addressing, and I'm sure in the years to come, we've managed to clean up our balance sheets big time, and our numbers are much stronger and much more reflective of the health of the company.
Most certainly. So you reckon a lot of these, I mean, you were thinking of capital raising plans to repair the balance sheet. Operational cash flows must be improving to help you do all of that too, even while you're in the expansion phase. When do we see this, a large portion of the pain, if not the entire pain, behind us?
I can't share with you the timeline as of today, but it's definitely next year could be one big move.
Okay. Next financial year, you mean?
This financial year is over today only.
So you're talking about FY24, not FY25?
No. Next one, the one coming.
FY24. Okay.
We are definitely glued to get this position set right. That's for sure.
Okay.
And we've managed to set it right to a fairly large extent. And I'm sure in the years to come and in practically maybe next year itself, we could see a big change as far as our debt portfolio is concerned. Yeah.
Great. Well, we will talk numbers when you can talk numbers after the quarterly numbers, but this was essentially to talk about the expanded capacity. Congratulations on that. And all the best for the quarters to come, Mr. Chaturvedi.
Thank you. Thank you.
And viewers, thanks for tuning into this conversation.
Thank you.